There's a major misconception that finding yourself again requires dramatic change. A new job, a new relationship, a new city, a new identity. But the real return happens in the smallest moments. The teeny choices, the micro shifts, the simple acts of remembering your own existence. Let me show you what I mean. Look at your day, look at your routine, your interactions. How often do you modify yourself, your tone, your truth, your opinions, your pace, to make things easier for others? How often do you override your inner signals? Don't do that. I'm tired. I need space. I don't enjoy this. That upset me. I don't want to say yes. How often does your body whisper no, but your mouth says okay? Your return begins with catching just one of those moments. One teeny self-abandonment, one micro disappearance. Maybe you're about to say sure when you mean I can't. Maybe you're about to respond right away when your body needs a pause. Maybe you're about to pretend something didn't bother you. Maybe you're about to downplay your needs for the sake of smoothness. And here, in that moment, you practice the return. You breathe, you pause, place a hand on your heart and say inwardly, I hear you. I won't override you this time. This is self-love. Not the candles, not the baths, not the affirmations. Self-love is the moment you stop abandoning yourself to make room for someone else. Self-love is choosing you, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's unfamiliar, even when your voice shakes. And as you practice these small shifts, something beautiful begins to happen. Your spark returns, not as a burst, but as a steady glow, a slow warming, a familiar feeling, a sense of home. You start recognizing your own face again. Not the face you show to the world, but the one that lives beneath all the coping mechanisms. You start to feel like you again. And that slow remembering is what rebuilds your life from the inside out. Because once a woman remembers herself, she can never again disappear the same way. There's a moment in every woman's awakening when she realizes, I'm tired of being the strong one, but I don't know how to be anything else. If that's where you are right now, you're not failing, you're transforming. Strength was your survival strategy. Strength was what kept you alive. Strength was what kept you sane in the chaos. Strength was what made you dependable, capable, resilient, and admirable. But strength has a shadow. It teaches you to hold everything alone, to ask yourself for nothing, to swallow battles you should never have had to fight, to endure pain you should never have had to normalize. And somewhere in that process, you began to associate softness with danger. Letting yourself feel, too risky. Letting yourself rest, too indulgent. Letting yourself want, too vulnerable. Letting yourself take up space, too familiar. So you became the version of yourself the world required. The stable one, the fixer, the caretaker, the anchor. Everyone benefited from your strength except you. But here's the truth no one tells strong women. Strength isn't supposed to cost you yourself. And if it does, it's no longer strength. It's self-abandonment. So if you've been feeling disconnected, if you've been feeling numb, if you've been feeling like your spark dimmed somewhere you can't reach, it's not because you're broken. It's because you're overdue for your own return. You've outgrown the version of yourself who survived by disappearing. This isn't depression. This is soul-level recalibration, a shedding, a remembering, a rerouting. Your life is asking you to step back into yourself. Not loudly, not dramatically, but truthfully. It's time to name what actually happened. Not the pretty version you tell people, but the real one your soul knows. You didn't lose yourself because you're weak. You lost yourself because you were loyal. Loyal to people who couldn't meet you. loyal to roles you outgrew, loyal to identities you didn't choose, loyal to expectations placed on you before you even had a voice, loyal to stories you inherited, not stories you wrote. You disappeared because disappearing was safer than being misunderstood, than being judged, than being too much, than being inconvenient. You silenced your truth because speaking it felt dangerous. You softened your boundaries because holding them felt lonely. You dimmed your desires because wanting felt unreasonable. You downplayed your needs because needing felt burdensome. And every time you swallow a piece of yourself, you survived a moment, but you lost a fragment. Now you want those fragments back. And that is holy work. Because nothing is more powerful than a woman who decides she will no longer apologize for being a full human being. Not the strong version, not the agreeable version, not the caretaker version, not the fine it's okay version, but the real version. The one who exists beneath all the roles. The one who feels, the one who wants, the one who speaks, the one who knows, the one who remembers. You don't need to change your life. You need to change your loyalty. Not away from people, away from the version of you that abandoned yourself to keep the peace. Your return begins when your loyalty shifts from what do they need from me to what do I need from me? From how do I keep everything smooth to how do I stay true to myself? From how do I not disappoint anyone to how do I stop disappointing myself? This is the doorway, the turning, the threshold. Once a woman becomes loyal to herself again, her entire life rearranges to meet her. Not instantly, not dramatically, but inevitably. Let's deepen your daily return. Here are more soft, doable actions woven into the story, not barked as instructions. Try this today. When someone asks you something, pause before you answer. Just pause. Notice your first body response. Notice if your chest tightens, if your stomach drops, if your jaw clenches. Notice if your mind jumps to what's expected instead of what's true. That pause is the crack where the real you lives. In that pause, you get to ask, what do I actually want here? Even if the answer is small, even if it's quiet, even if you're not ready to speak it out loud, listen to that answer. That's how you return to yourself. Here's another practice. At some point today, choose the small kindness you usually postpone. Not the kindness you give to others, the kindness you owe yourself. Sit down for 2 minutes. Drink your tea slowly. Give yourself warmth without earning it. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath deepen. Let yourself sit without doing. You don't have to do anything extraordinary to reconnect. You simply have to stop abandoning yourself in ordinary moments. And lastly, before bed tonight, whisper this: I am allowed to take up space in my own life. Say it softly, say it tired, say it even if you don't fully believe it yet. Because a truth doesn't become real when you believe it, it becomes real when you practice it. There comes a moment in your journey back to yourself when you realize something powerful. You didn't lose your spark, you buried it under responsibility. You didn't lose your voice, you muted it to keep the peace. You didn't lose your identity, you shaped it around the needs of everyone else. And now you feel the emptiness of a life that looks fine, but doesn't feel like yours. It's a strange kind of grief, isn't it? To look around and see stability, but not recognition. To have comfort, but not connection. To have routine, but not a resonance. The world says you should be grateful. Your mind says you should be satisfied. But your soul whispers, this isn't home. And that whisper is the most important thing you will ever hear. Because that whisper is you, the real you, tugging at your sleeve, asking to be remembered, not because you're ungrateful, but because you're unfinished and unfulfilled. This is a version of you still waiting to be lived. And here's the part most women will never talk about. The chapter where nothing is wrong, but something is missing. Where you have what you once prayed for, but you still don't feel yourself. Where life is stable, but you're restless. Where everything is functioning, but you're not fulfilled. This is not a sign that you're unappreciative. It's a sign you're awakening. Because once a woman gets even a small taste of stability, her soul begins asking for authenticity. And authenticity feels uncomfortable when you've survived by being adaptable. You're not bored. You're underexpressed. You're not empty. You're under-returned. You're not lost. You're unclaimed. This is what the return feels like. A subtle agitation, a quiet longing, a discomfort you can't label, a sense that the life you're living is too small for the woman you're becoming. This is expansion, and expansion always shakes the part of you that were built on contraction. And this is what the shift into self-return looks like. One day, maybe it's today, you wake up and realize, I'm tired of abandoning myself for the sake of harmony. I'm tired of knowing what everyone else needs and never knowing what I want. I'm tired of performing strength when all I want is softness. This is the moment your identity begins to uncoil. You stop chasing the version of you that pleases everyone. You stop romanticizing the version of you that never had needs. You stop honoring the version of you that only existed to survive. And you begin honoring the woman beneath it all. The one who's been waiting for you to stop apologizing for just existing. Let's embody this for another small shift. Let yourself take up emotional space today. Not with big speeches, not with dramatic revelations, not with tearful breakdowns. With simple truth. I'm overwhelmed today. I need a minute. I don't have the capacity for that. That didn't feel good to me. I need more time. I actually want something different. Every honest sentence you speak is a brick returning to the foundation of your identity. Every small truth you allow is a teeny spark of the woman you thought you lost. Here's another practice. Give yourself permission to disappoint people who benefit from your silence. Not intentionally, not vindictively, just by being yourself. Because the truth is, your self-abandonment has been the glue, holding together situations you have outgrown. And the moment you stop shrinking to make things easier for others, your life begins rearranging around the one you truly are. One more practice. Stop explaining your feelings to people who aren't interested in understanding them. You don't owe anyone an essay on why you're choosing yourself. You don't need to negotiate for your rest, or justify your boundaries, or collect permission slips to honor your inner world. You are a grown woman with a soul that has suffered enough quiet bruise marks from carrying everything alone. This is your era of simplicity, honesty, self-honoring, and soft return. Your soul is tired of speed, tired of strength as armor, tired of performing. It wants presence. It wants breath. It wants quiet, and it wants you.